Welcome to another version, another edition of the Quick Win Clinic. The more of these that we do, the more exciting it gets because I'm able to take you into new areas that we don't talk about in our certification courses or our graduate program. Many of you know that we have a full master's program with the University of Florida and a graduate program and 4 core subjects that we use as our research streams. For more than 20 years, we've been trying to answer a single question: why do people say yes? Given a set of choices, why do they choose one offer over another? Stay with me because I'm looking at a page that's an example. You could learn from this. There are some things that are good about this page. So let's start by noticing what's done right. I think outsource your payroll to an external payroll company. You could strengthen that headline, but at least it explains and what it is that you probably do, and it tells you very clearly in the subtext underneath it. Affinity is a payroll company that delivers fully managed payroll services tailored to your needs. That's good. Then it has sort of conversational language. Let's talk. I'll call that good. Underneath that, it lists some of the immediate values. So let's say save time and effort, reduce cost, flexible options. Those thoughts should be parallel. They're not, but it's still the right idea. Underneath that are testimonials. And so I think there's 2 ways to think about this page. I have probably 4 or 5 minutes left. Maybe not that long. So what can I do in these few moments to get you the most value? Because ultimately we don't just want to help this person. We want to help all of you that are watching this Quick Win Clinic. So how do you take a good page and make it better? I could talk about that, and I want to suggest there's 2 ways, tactically and strategically. I'm going to speed up now to try and cover as much as I possibly can. So tactically, I'll make a list of things, but then I want to suddenly shift the entire conversation with a strategic point, starting with a tactical. That payroll is good. It could improve because instead of just telling me what you do, you haven't addressed one of the most important things: why I should consider your solution. Not here in your payroll, not here in your headline. Your headline doesn't really drive me into the content below. And in fact, it brings me to the next weakness. This paragraph does tell me what you do, but it's basically restating what you say above it. And so if I've invested the time, these are at least 3 micro yeses that it took to get to this point, there's not a lot of value I'm getting exchanged. You could let me know that you could let me know what you do, but give me a strong reason to want to talk to you. We'll come back to that when I get strategic. Now let's go down and you say, well, I did list, in the development of the page, some key components. Yes, you did, but you said save time and effort, reduce cost, and you said flexible options. But I want to challenge that by saying, how many payroll solutions do you think make the same claim or could? What's missing here is there's nothing exclusive in your claim that helps me decide you're the person I have to talk to, or at least, and this is a win in its own right, I can't afford not to talk to you because you might be the right solution. So you've done better than most. Congratulations, you really have. But getting tactical, you could improve your headline, you could include more why, you could include more exclusivity, and let's go right down here to testimonials. You got testimonials. So again, let's just be tactical. How would you improve this? Well, clearly, I have 2 testimonials, and how many of you find 2 testimonials convincing? You need something I call a preponderance of evidence. Let these 2 link to 100 more. Or, and this is very important, increase the authority of the people talking. If the head of an association recommends you, if a well-known business leader, if Jack Welch were to recommend you, then 1 or 2 might be enough. But in the absence of a high authority person, you need your preponderance to move in a different direction, from a preponderance of authority to a preponderance of people. So I would support this by letting people click to a page that pops up and scrolls endlessly with testimonials. And again, I'm being tactical, but I want to put down P over here and say you need a preponderance for this to be powerful. This brings me to the form. I have to stop here. Speak to us is very weak. It doesn't give me any value or any reason. I need something to accomplish. I didn't come to speak to you. I came to solve something. Translate speak to us into an implied value that comes from speaking to you. Again, I'm being tactical. We could talk about friction. I'm going to stop. In a very cursory way, I've gone through what I consider to be above average for the pages that are submitted here and provided a layer of tactical improvements. But I want to stop here. I want to move to strategic. And I want you to listen closely. I think, and I'm not trying to be, I don't want to be arrogant, I think this is better, more valuable, and could help everybody listening. There's two ways to approach this page. Everything I've said is tactical. And the tactical is very good. It's quite helpful. But the truth is, all you're going to see from a tactical improvement is an incremental increase. Did you hear that? That's all. What if you need a transformative increase? We've seen these. I worked with one of the largest sites in the world, from one of the largest manufacturers in the world. And of course, they're many billions of dollars, and they have all the marketing groups. And we made a simple change to the most important page on their website, and we saw a 600% increase in requests for business. That is not an attempt to brag or impress you with how clever our scientists are. I'm only saying that to suggest that you don't reach these big, dramatic improvements with tactical changes that produce an incremental increase. You have to get strategic. So let's, for a moment, challenge our own sites, this one and others, with a different question. How do we change the very approach of this page? You probably heard me teach about radical redesigns, but before there can be a radical redesign, there has to be radical thinking. I want to think radically with you about the page and say, what if we took this page and we changed something significant? Right now, we are selling the company and saying, talk to us. To do that, you're providing information, and apparently a salesperson will follow up. What if instead, so think about it, let me just go back. Think about it like this. You're selling the company, and you're selling the form submission. The idea is that the momentum of interest created about the company will get me to fill out the form. But frankly, this isn't very momentous. It's okay, but it doesn't give me the deep, significant impression that, wow, I should contact these people. Now, in fairness to you, marketer, you might say, well, that's very hard. We need to talk to people. We can't do this in a single web page. And that could be true. You could say, our competitors will make the same claims, but we do it better, and here's how and why. And that takes time to explain. And that could be true. So what do? How do you shift the strategic framework of this page? Here's how. Instead of selling the company and the form submission, what if you focus this page on an incredibly powerful tool that will help everybody make a better decision when it comes to the right payroll solution? What if you did more than put a picture of a white paper or some weak presentation together, but literally mentioned the company, but instead talked about this remarkable paper? What if you spent time not asking, how can I create something that will generate leads, but rather asking, how can I really serve somebody who is at this juncture in the thought sequence of a purchase? What information do they need to know? How can they compare solutions? What are the traps? Who is an expert that they might recognize that could speak to this? Are there case studies of people who made the wrong decision and case studies of people who made the right decision? Further, could I write this in a way that isn't just a hype-driven commercial for my company, but just delivers exceeding value? That approach would require you to step back and take some of the marketing energy that you spend on the page and spend it in content and produce a remarkable piece of valuable content. But once you had that content, you could change the tone of this conversation. You could show pages and samples from the report. You could tell people how short it is from a standpoint of executive briefing and valuable, or how long it is from the standpoint of how thorough and helpful. You could give a table of contents. You could talk about the authors. You could share an excerpt from the case study. You could have a video interview from one of the people being featured in the report. But if you went all in and you created this amazing report that has high value, and if you took that high value report, turned it into a useful tool that can make life easier for me as I try to approach this critical decision, then this page might generate far more response, which in turn gives you greater opportunity to build an authentic relationship. Now, we've all seen white papers and little lead generation gimmicks. If you think of what I just said as, hey, let's add a gimmick to this message, then I have failed to communicate the important point to you. I am not talking about adding a white paper, adding a report. I am talking about changing the entire emphasis of the page to promote something that is truly valuable, very tangible. And the difference between this and the company is I get instant gratification. I get this solution now. And this tool could help me save time and make a better decision. You know, a lot of people put together some sort of little white paper or download document, but most of us see straight through that. If you spent authentic energy and time building something truly capable, I would test a different version of this page, and I would then do what's called a category test, testing the emphasis of the page is on the tool compared with the emphasis of the page is on the company. And once I tested those two and found a winner, then I would focus on tactical.